What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the Musician Goods TV YouTube channel. Now, before I even get into this video, I want to thank all of you guys for subscribing. Yesterday, we reached the milestone of 15,000 YouTube subscribers. So I want to thank all of you guys for subscribing to the channel. And I want to ask the new subscribers to keep subscribing because we want to keep this thing going. We want to reach even more milestones, so let's keep that going. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about beginner music production software. All right, now if some of you guys might know, I actually did a video on this 4 years ago, which is called the top 3 best music production software for beginners. But since that was 4 years ago, I figured it's time to make an update on that video and actually provide you with 5, not 3, but 5 of the best music production software for beginners. All right, so I still get a lot of questions of different people just starting out in music, not knowing what software to use, and I figured it's time to do a video with 5 different softwares that you can use to get started. Now, regardless of what your goal is in music, I'll make sure that I'll select only the softwares that can handle different tasks under one roof. So whether you're mixing and mastering, whether you're recording your instruments or just composing music, I'll make sure to select the DAWs that support all of these different tasks. All right, now before we get started, before we get into this video, I want to call out a few things that you should consider. First of all, what is a DAW? So if you don't know what a DAW is, DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation, and a DAW is basically the canvas for you to create your music or your art, whatever you want to call it. So like a painter uses a canvas to paint, to make his painting, you're going to use a DAW to make your music. All right, so that's basically what DAW stands for, Digital Audio Workstation. Here's a few things you need to consider before even looking at DAWs to buy. The first one I want to stress is it's not about the software, it's about the person behind the software. So you can have the best studio, all the sounds in the world, all the VST plugins, all the drum machines, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to make very good music. And the same goes the other way around. You can have the most simple DAW, but make the greatest music if you know what you're doing. All right, so it's not about how expensive your DAW is or how many features it has. It's more about what you're doing with the DAW. All right, so let's not forget about that. Second, what type of computer or laptop are you using, and is that computer or laptop compatible to use to run the software that you want to get? So if you're using a laptop or computer, make sure that it's up to date, make sure it has the necessary RAM memory, the necessary speed, the necessary hard drive space to even run the software. Right, and if you guys want, I can do a video on this as well, and what to look for when you're buying a computer or laptop for music production. If you want me to do that, let me know in the comment section below, but just think about these things before you even get started. Now, next is your operating system. Make sure you get the software that is compatible with your operating system. Now, some DAWs are only compatible with certain operating systems, such as Logic Pro, which can only be used for Mac devices, and then you have Cakewalk Sonar, which can only be used with Windows devices. So make sure you know what you're working with or going to work with before you even consider buying a DAW. All right, now next is what's your goal in music. What are you going to be using your DAW for? Are you going to mix and master music? Are you going to record your instruments? Are you going to record yourself? Are you a rapper? Do you want to make beats? What is it that you want to do? It's important to find out what you want to do before you buy your DAW, because certain DAWs are better suited for certain aspects of music production. All right, so make sure you know what your goal is before you even get started. Now next I want to talk about the budget. Make sure you have a budget set aside to actually purchase a DAW, and also make sure that you don't spend too much money on a DAW just because it has more functions. Make sure that you actually buy a DAW that is best suited for the things that you want to do, and that's why I made this video, so that by the end of this video you'll know, all right, I need to pick this DAW or this DAW because I'm going to be doing this or that. That's why I decided to make this video. But just make sure that you buy a DAW that's within your budget. And also, if you don't have a very large budget, that's all right. You can take your advantage of seasonal sales The manufacturers of these software have seasonal sales, which you can use to your advantage to get a DAW on a discount. So, you know, if you don't have a large budget, look out for these seasonal sales because it can help you save a lot of money. And if you don't have a budget at all, there's also free options that I can also do a video on. If you guys want me to, let me know in the comment section below. Again, but there are free options out there as well, and even some of the DAWs that are going to be mentioned on this list are available for free. But if you want the full software, then you have to spend some money to get that. But there are also free options out there, so don't worry if you don't have a budget at all. It's not really, you know, that important yet. You can also just do a trial with certain DAWs, certain software before you even, you know, want to really use it for the long term. So don't worry about your budget too much, but just make sure that you buy what you need and don't spend money on something that you will not be using. All right, now with that being said, let's get into my top 5 best beginner software for music producers. So number 5 on my list is Propellerhead Reason. Now some of you guys might know I used to use Reason a lot back in the days. In some of my older videos, I used to do tutorials in Reason, and the reason why I like Reason so much personally is because it's so easy to use and it comes with so many sounds, instruments, loops, and all kinds of good stuff that you want to use when you're just starting out. Because a lot of people, when you're just starting out, you don't have any sounds yet, you don't have any instruments, any VSTs, so you're looking for a software that comes with all these sounds included, and Reason is definitely the best one out there if you want to manipulate stock sounds. Now, I used to make a lot of sample-based beats, and Reason was also a great option for this because they have a bunch of you know, plugins that come with the software that you can use to manipulate samples very easily. So with that being said, Reason is just a very easy to use and a very versatile digital audio workstation that I've worked with a lot. So I can tell you from my personal experience that as a beginner, Reason is definitely one of the best options out there. Now, Reason 10 is Propellerhead's newest and most performant digital audio workstation, and it will help you to solve many issues in the studio. If you've had the experience to work with previous versions of Reason, you will be pleased to find out that this one, the Reason 10, the latest version, comes with the same accessible user interface. And it's definitely not an ugly interface to look at. It's a very attractive, easy to use interface that puts more emphasis on efficiency and functionality rather than, you know, how it looks. It's an ideal piece of software for smaller screens as it offers all you need to know in a small frame. Now, when it comes to features, this software has always been a great asset for those looking for recording software or to mix and master sound, but it can also do well if you want to create music from scratch. Now, the latest variant of this software focuses on new instruments and effects that you can use in your music. You get 2 new synthesizers included with Reason 10, and also a lot of improvements when it comes to synth sounds, but also other sampled instruments and loops. This DAW will offer you enough flexibility to experiment with different patterns. You get over 3 gigabytes of sampled sounds included with Reason. Now, like I said before, Reason is one of the best options out there if you don't have any sounds at all, if you don't have anything and you're looking for a software that has everything for you to get started. At least Reason is one of the best, as it comes with over 3 gigabytes of sampled sounds, instruments, and loops. So you can basically, you know, get started and create from scratch just with the software itself without using any external sounds or plugins. Now let's get into some of the pros and cons of Reason. Let's start with the pros. It has a very easy to understand interface, and even though you didn't work with previous versions of Reason, starting with this one will be very easy. And I can tell you from my own experience, this is exactly what I experienced with Reason. It was very easy to use, and it only took me a few hours even to understand how it works. Now, the product offers everything you need if you're looking for audio recording software or mixing potential. So you can not only record, you can also mix and master, you can also compose beats. Basically, it offers everything you need under one roof. Now, with the introduction of the new synthesizers, you'll be able to find new sounds for interesting pieces of music, and you can always make use of the huge library of loops and sampled instruments. and that helps when you're creating music from scratch. The software also offers the possibility to increase the range of sounds and effects with different plugins that can be installed. So you can also implement third-party plugins and sounds that you might already have into Reason. So it's very compatible as well with external sources. Also, you get the possibility to stretch or slide across your audio file as you see fit. Now let's get into the cons of Reason. The main flaw of Reason is that it uses a basic theme and layout that will leave you with little space to work on, which can be a problem for bigger projects. Now Reason is not very adjustable. Basically, what you see is what you get, so you can't really customize your canvas, as we might say, and that might be a problem for people who might want to do a little bit more personalization on their screen. Reason doesn't really offer that. Like I said, is what you see is what you get, but still it's a great software to get started on, especially if you have zero drum samples, zero instruments or whatsoever. It comes with 3 gigabytes and basically offers you everything you need to get started. So Reason is number 5 on my list. So let's get into number 4, and number 4 I got Steinberg's Cubase Pro 10. Now Cubase is a very minimalistic audio workstation. It has a very nostalgic look for the users that have used Cubase before, and the workspace is very neatly organized. And also in the new version they added a new lower zone that comes with added features. This zone makes it easier for users to go through the interface and navigate with it. And everything about Cubase is very smooth and has a very minimalistic feel, which makes it easier to use in my personal opinion. This is one DAW that is known for how many features it can offer. Now the latest version of Cubase brings back older aspects, but it also revamps them and offers some new things too. There is, for example, a new sampler track which will help you in your work with samples, making things way more accessible. Now, another thing I like about Cubase is that they actually listen to their customers. A lot of people give feedback or have complaints about certain softwares, and Cubase is one of the manufacturers that actually listen to the feedback and implement the feedback into their newer versions. So they make a lot of iterations on their softwares, on their previous softwares versions, and they actually make them better by listening to their customers. And this is one thing that I really like about Cubase. Another thing I really like is that it almost never crashes. Like, I've never experienced Cubase crashing on me before, and also from other people, other users that I know, I've never heard a story about Cubase crashing. So this is one thing that makes a lot of us very happy, because no one likes their software to crash on them. Now, although Cubase might be hard to master at first, if you have used previous editions of the software, you might find it a lot easier to get familiar with it. But I do understand that if you're using Cubase for the very first time, it might seem a little bit complicated, but trust me, if you get familiar with the software, you can pretty much learn how to, get things done quickly within only a few days. Now let's get into the pros and cons of Cubase. Now some of the pros are the new sampler track. In my opinion, is a great tool for people that work with samples such as myself, and it's also intuitive to those less experienced users. Now the fact that this software can do pretty much everything you want to do in the studio, it makes it a great tool for music producers that don't have a great budget and are looking for something that can let them do everything. Also, the simple minimalistic design makes it run smoothly, and because it never crashes, it's basically one of the safest options out there. Now some of the cons of Cubase is that newcomers that are just using the software for the first time will have little to no clue on how to use the software, as I said before. But if you get a little bit familiar with it, there's tutorials out there on the internet. It can be a pretty easy to learn tool, only within a few days. Now another one is that there's still a few minor bugs within the software, but I trust the manufacturers of the software to get rid of these little bugs and quirks in the software in future updates. So number 4 on my list, Cubase, definitely a great option if you're just starting out and you're looking for something that offers everything under one roof. Now let's get into number 3. Number 3, I got Presonus Studio One. Now Studio One is a brand in the music industry that offers great tools, not only in software but also in hardware. You should check their hardware out. They produce some great tools for in the studio as well, next to their software, which makes this a very, very, interesting company. As a result, their new latest version of Studio One is one of the most capable pieces of music editing software out there. When you look at the screen of a Presonus Studio One, when you first look at the screen when using Presonus Studio One, it might look a little bit complicated, chaotic, crowded, and a lot busier than other softwares out there. However, that's mainly due to the fact that most things are color coded. Yes, that means you will be able to learn what each color means and have an easier time navigating the interface in no time. So Studio One uses coloring a lot, which can be a great tool to memorize certain aspects of your project. But at first it might seem a little bit confusing to see all these different colors on your screen. But as you get more familiar with it, you can actually use the coloring to your advantage to, memorize what certain things you're using in your project. Now, the color coding aspect helps you keep track of complicated projects. Like I said, the windows, features, and the interface overall are very easy to memorize. But if you don't like the way it looks, you can always customize that. Which is also a great feature that, like I said, Reason does not offer. Studio One does offer customizing, certain aspects of your project and your workspace. The Presonus Studio One latest version comes with a capable browsing option that lets you search for effects and samples easily. This is a very important feature, taking into account the huge size of the library that you can access. Now, this also comes with a large library, which, is also a very great thing for beginners. Now, Studio One is primarily used as a recording and mixing DAW, but you can also, do well if you want to start composing. But it's primarily used for mixing and mastering. So if that's your goal in music, if you want to mix and master songs, then Studio One is definitely a great option for you. Some of the pros are that the software comes with a color-coded interface, which means that you can get the hang of it pretty fast. You can use the coloring to organize your project, and you can use it to memorize certain aspects, which in my personal opinion makes it very easy to use when working on very complicated projects that have a lot of different files and different sounds. You can use the coloring to organize everything and to memorize where everything is at. You will also be able to have a better feel of what's on your tracks just by having a quick look at them. And this, like I said, you can by the coloring you can see what belongs to what and what is what, basically, which makes it very easy to use. It comes with a very large library offering a bunch of effects, loops, and sounds, which you can choose from when working on projects, which again is a very, very nice thing to me. Studio One also has a very, very easy to use quick browsing feature that can help you find certain sounds that you're looking for. And like I said before, it's one of the best options out there when it comes to mixing and mastering. Now, some of the cons of the software is that if you stack too many samples and tracks on top of each other, the software might get a little slow. It might start to run slower. So this is a thing I don't like about Studio One, because when we make music, we like to make it as complicated as possible. And with this software, if you stack too many sounds and tracks on top of each other, it might become a little bit laggy. And this is something you need to think about before purchasing Studio One. Another thing is, if you want the full version, you will have to spend some money, but again, this is kind of normal for every software. Like, you have to buy it eventually, but if you want to get the full version, you have to spend the money. So to some people, this might be considered a con. So definitely number 3 on my list is Studio One. It's a great option out there, especially if you want to get more into mixing and mastering. This will be a great choice for you. Now let's get into number 2. Number 2 on my list is Ableton Live. Now, I've used Ableton Live also. years back, and what I really liked about Ableton Live is that it's such a minimalistic looking interface that's mainly gray with a few colors here and there, which makes it easy to organize your project. And it also comes with a great stock library with a bunch of great sounding instruments and effects and bass lines and all that. You can basically get started with Ableton Live if you don't have any sounds at all, which is a good thing if you're a beginner. Now, Ableton Live comes in 3 different available options, and it offers the right mix of functionality for producers that require more than the basic intro variant and don't need to spend that much money on the sweet piece of software. Now, there's 3 different variants, and you have the basic variant, but if you want the full software, you would have to get Ableton Live Suite, because that has everything that you need, the complete program of Ableton. So if you want to get the full software, you have to get the Live Suite version. It serves as a good software for those looking to get into the world of music production. You don't have a limit on the tracks that you can create, which is also a great thing. There's no limit on the tracks. You can create as many tracks as you want. You can make it as complicated as you want, and the software will still run pretty smoothly. Ableton also comes with a bunch of plugins out of the box, including the EQ8 plugin, which essentially lets you analyze how your track sounds. Installing the software is also a very simple thing to do, as it only needs a few steps to be installed. Now, another thing I like about Ableton is that it works on both Mac and PC devices, so Mac and Windows devices. So if you have a Mac or Windows, or if you have a Windows computer and a Mac laptop, you can install Ableton on both devices, making it very compatible to different operating systems, which I like. Now, Ableton has 2 view modes, 2 types of views, and one of them is known as session view and the other is known as arrange view. The first one is ideal for on-stage live performances. So if you're a DJ and you like to perform tracks live on stage, you can use Ableton to manipulate sounds live while doing your performance. And this makes it a very, very nice, versatile, audio workstation. And as far as I know, there's not many other digital audio workstations that offer this option. And you can use the arrange view for composing music in the studio. So it's actually like a 2-in-1 software. It offers you the ability to go out and perform your tracks live and manipulate your tracks live. And it also, offers the arrange view set, which you can use to actually create music in the studio. Now let's get into some of the pros and cons of Ableton Live. Now, this software is one of the better choices when it comes to live performances, as the session view will allow you to make quick adjustments to the tracks that you're playing, and the feature also plays the music in an endless loop. If you want to have better control over the music that you're creating, you can always work with the advanced arrange view. There are no limits in terms of tracks that you can use, and that means that your song can be as full and thick as you want, complete with instruments and effects. You will find it pleasing that this software works with both Mac and PC devices, so you don't have to worry about, installing it on your laptop that might have a different operating system than your computer, because it's compatible with both Mac and Windows. Now, some of the cons, like I said, if you want the full experience, you would have to purchase the Ableton Live Suite version. But other than that, that's really the only con that I could find for this software. And that's why it's number 2 on my list of, the top 5 best beginner music production software. Now, let's get into number 1. And some of you might already know which one I'm going to list for number 1. It is none other than FL Studio, aka Fruity Loops. Now, I've been using Fruity Loops or FL Studio for many, many years. I've got a lot of friends who use FL Studio, and the thing I like about FL Studio is that you can do pretty much anything in the software. You can mix, master, record instruments, sample. You can do pretty much anything that you want to do, and it's so easy to use. It's so easy to understand the workspace. It's very organized. You got the browser on the left side, you know, you got your sequencer, you got the piano roll. Like, it's just very easy to understand, and also it's one of the most popular music production software out there. I think it might be the most popular music production software at the moment, and because of that, a lot of people are already a little bit familiar with the software. And another effect of it being so popular is that there's tons and tons of tutorials and courses out there on the internet teaching you many different things inside FL Studio. So it's definitely the best option for beginners because there's so many things you can learn just on the internet, and there's so many people that are using it. Now, there's a little bit of a reputation when it comes to FL Studio users. People are saying that, you know, only beginners use FL Studio or only amateurs use FL Studio, but this is absolute BS because people like Martin Garrix, Tiesto, Afrojack, some EDM people, and also a Ninth Wonder, you know, the list goes on and on. These are industry professional producers that have been using FL Studio for many years. And like I said before, it's not about the software, it's about the person using the software. All right, so don't let people get into your head with this, you know, FL Studio is crap, BS. It's not. It's about the person using it. And in my personal experience, in my personal opinion, FL Studio, you know, offers a great selection of, you know, different functions that you can use when you're just getting started in music. All right, so FL Studio's latest version is FL Studio 20, and the number 20 actually stands for the years that the software has been around. It's been around for 20 years, and they're celebrating that with FL Studio 20. Now, this new software incorporates everything the old FL Studio versions had, including the super fast features that were so intuitive to use. Beginners will be able to start this software and create some music right off the bat. It allows you to quickly edit MIDI information with the help of the piano roll, which shares information with the step sequencer. Now, the piano roll is a really cool feature that I like a lot about FL Studio. It's basically a vertical piano, I guess, and you can just, you know, insert notes as you would on a piano, making it very, very, very easy to create melodies and also implements chords and scales and all these type of things that you use when you're making music. One of the main features the software is known for is the quirky graphics, which attracts newcomers but also looks a bit too playful for some. Now, like I said before, it has a bit of a reputation that it's only used for beginners and blah blah blah, and this is again a little bit because of the, you know, the quirky look of FL Studio. But like I said before, it's not really about, you know, how it looks like or whatever. It's more about, you know, what you can do with it. So again, this is a pretty subjective opinion. It doesn't really matter too much, but this might, you know, turn some people off because they think that it's only for beginners. But the new DAW comes with more improved graphics, making it look a little bit more professional and making it look better on your monitor. Furthermore, you can now edit, record, and mix audio signals more easily, and you're also able to drag and drop items from your PC onto your screen into the project, and they will be sorted automatically. Additionally, this new model is also compatible with Mac systems, which also is part of the reason why I put it on number one, because FL Studio for many years was only compatible with Windows devices, but now they also are compatible with Mac devices. So to me, this is a big game changer because I use both Windows and Mac, and I was really happy to find out that they were also, you know, making it accessible to Mac users. Now let's get into some of the pros and cons of FL Studio. FL Studio is one of the most popular music production software out there because it's so versatile and because a lot of artists are using it. You won't find many other digital audio workstations that are easier to use than FL Studio. The controls are intuitive and the software helps you in your work, making many aspects automatic almost. The software offers you the possibility to use it on PC and Mac devices too, without running the risk of crashing it as it used to do before when using emulators. Now, crashing is a thing that FL Studio used to deal with a lot, but so far, as I know, in the latest version, it hasn't been crashing at all on my computer. And also people that I know that use FL Studio, you know, they haven't told me anything about crashing so far, which were issues that I had before. So it seems like the creators of FL Studio have really stepped the game up and, you know, made the software a bit more stable. Now, some of the cons of FL Studio is that apart from the fact that the software is now compatible with Mac devices, some used to say that the improvements compared to previous releases are insignificant. And that's pretty much the only thing I could find negative about this new version of FL Studio. Other than that, it basically offers you everything you need to get started as a beginner. Now, as far as stock sounds go, I'm not too impressed by their stock library. But that's a very subjective thing to say, I guess. Some people might be able to really work with the samples that they offer right off the get-go, but to me it doesn't really matter, because like I said, you can just drag and drop samples from your computer into the project, which makes it very easy to, you know, incorporate other sounds and other plugins into the software. So to me, it's not really a big issue, but just other people, you know, it might be a little bit of an issue. But FL Studio definitely makes the #1 spot on my list of the 5 best beginner music production software out there available right now. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think of my list, and also, you know, if you have any feedback or whatsoever, let me know in the comment section below. Also about the giveaway, because we reached 15,000 subscribers on the channel, we are giving away a few prizes to some lucky people out there. Now, what we are actually giving away are these amazing shortcut mouse pads for basically all DAWs out there. So as you can see, this one is purple. It is used for Pro Tools, and it shows you all the hotkey combinations for Pro Tools. I think this one is for Studio One, I'm not sure, but we got these for all softwares. We got the little piano over here showing you how to play notes from your keyboard on your computer keyboard, which is pretty cool. And they are also organized into different sections of your DAW. So if you want to know, you know, how to quickly edit something or how to quickly mix, you can just look at the right category and find all the hotkeys for that category, right? And next to that, we also got the piano, chord, and skill mouse pads, which can be very useful for beginners that don't know much about music theory yet, because they show you the most essential chords in all 12 keys. So on the left side, you can see the keys, and here you can see the type of chords. Now, these one feature the major, minor, 7th, augmented, and diminished. We got different types of mouse pads. Now, you can get these, of course, on our website, which is musiciangoods.com, but because we reached 15,000 subscribers, we are giving away these mouse pads for free. Now, all you have to do is click on the link in the description of this video and sign up to the form, and we will let you know by the end of April who will be the lucky winners. All right, so if you want to win one of those amazing mouse pads, sign up below, and hopefully you might be one of the lucky winners. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Let us know in the comment section below what software you're using and what software you think should have made the list. And also follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And of course, visit our rep shop for the best music production gear out there. We also got really dope merchandise, as this t-shirt I'm wearing right now. It says producer. It's really cool, so check that out as well. And thank you guys for watching. I see you guys next week with the next video. Have a good day, stay safe with the coronavirus, and I see you guys. Peace.